Hey guys, Doug from Alpha here. So here's the problem. You've used a track for a client commercial or a promo, and you want to flag it so it doesn't accidentally get used in another team member's spot. Well, you can do it. And it's one of the most powerful features of the Source Audio platform that you probably never heard of. It's the Add Comment feature, which allows you to add notes to any track in a playlist. And when I say comments, I'm not talking Yelp reviews. I'm talking private notes tagged on a track that can then be shared with other users on the platform, namely your production teammates. So let's take a look. I think you're going to find this pretty cool. Okay, as I mentioned, you can add a comment to any track as long as that track is in a playlist. So step one, I'm going to create a playlist, and I'm going to call this Reserved Tracks. Now, a good habit to get into, because playlists are searchable, is I'm going to add some searchable keywords, namely commercial and comments. Now, remember, we're going to share this playlist, so if someone forgets the playlist title, they can still search for either commercial or comments or whatever easily remembered keywords and pull it up. Now, I'm going to tap the icon and add a track to the playlist here. When I open our playlist up, you see the waveform here. Now, when I hover over the waveform, I want you to take a look at what's going on over on the right side of the screen. Because when I hover, and only when I hover, the Add Comment button pops up. Bet you never saw that, huh? Now, when I click on the button, out pops the bright red comment box that I can put anywhere on the track's timeline. Now, I can use this to point out some certain segments of the track, might be useful for imaging. Your notes can be anything you want, but in this case, I'm just going to take it over to the beginning of the track there, where I'm going to identify my client. Now, let's say we're going to tag this for HealthSpring Medical Group, and I'm going to add the date and my name so the team knows who added the comment and when I did it. Okay, so we save the changes, and you'll notice this little icon pops up in the waveform. It's only visible in this playlist. And when you hover over it, there's the comment. Now, you can certainly leave comments just for yourself, but where's the fun in that? What I want to do is to share this playlist with my production team along with my comments. So I'm going to collaborate. That is, add some people to share this playlist. I'm going to add my buddy Steve to the list here, and he'll be able to see it and edit it on his own site. Now, I can click here to send him an email that I'm sharing the playlist with him, just to let him know. There's no need to do that. The playlist is going to show up anyway. He doesn't need to give us permission to do that. So I saved the changes here, and now I'm going over to another browser where I'm logged in as my buddy Steve. Now let me reload the page, and there it is. And when Steve opens up the playlist, you can see my track and my comments. And what's cool about this is that Steve can actually add to my comments, or he can add his own original comment to my track. And this happens, by the way, in real time. So if I were to add a comment to this track here on Steve's site and then switch back to my original site, you'll notice that his comment has popped up immediately here. And if you want, you could actually have a conversation in real time using the comment feature. Think of it kind of like a poor man's Slack or a direct messaging system. Now, back to Steve's site, because Steve is going to add a track to the playlist for his client. So Steve adds a track and flags it for, let's say, Dan's Discount Used Cars. And he's going to add the date and his name so we always know who's adding the tracks. So Steve saves the changes, and if we flip back to the other browser, it's right there immediately. And you can add as many members of your team to collaborate on this playlist as you want. Now, what this means is that with a bunch of producers adding tracks, the odds are eventually you're going to have one hell of a long track list here. Well, how do you identify them in the main track listing to see if a track has been flagged as reserved? Couldn't be easier. I'm going to add a third user to my team. I'm going to add my teammate Connor to this list here. And like I said, you can add as many team members as you want, and we're going to flip to yet another browser. So let's take a look. So we're now in Connor's login, and again, reload my page, and up pops the reserved track playlist. But Connor doesn't want to add a track yet. He just wants to see what's been flagged so he can avoid using those tracks. All Connor needs to do is activate the playlist by tapping the icon here. The tracks that have been reserved have the red minus icon indicating that they're in the playlist. So Connor has been waved off those red tracks, and literally everything else is green to go ahead and use. And that's how easy it is. And the beauty of this is totally private between you and the team members that you share the playlist with. No one else in Alpha can see this. It's just that simple. So to recap, create and share a playlist with your group. Everyone adds tracks with comments. Activating the playlist IDs all the tracks that have been reserved. We think you'll find this useful, and I bet you'll even find some different ways to use this feature. We'd love to hear from you. So feel free to reach out to Steve or myself, and thanks for watching.